My friend Mark Callahan, the gentleman with the white beard, I met him for the first time in the early 70s in Phoenix, Arizona, with the Southwestern Methodist Bible College there. And I remember Mark was one of our chapel speakers. And it's a delight to have him here because he goes back for me a number of years. And it's a delight. I'm so very grateful that I'm still walking with the Lord. I come from a nominal Christian background. We go to church probably twice a year. Fortunately, they didn't move the church, or we'd be in trouble because we go Christmas and maybe Easter, and that was about it. Came to Christ under Bob Vance's ministry, the Washington Heights Baptist Church up in Auburn. And I think they call it Washington Community Church. It's the church that you go up the hill there, when you are referring to. And it's grown quite a bit. But Mark was just been alive. He came to chapel. He's about as thin as he is now, a little younger, no beard. And he had this, he looked like a full brush man with this suitcase full of books. And he is an expert on the culture in Utah and has been a missionary in the state of Utah with our association for 53 years. So we are going he is the oldest senior missionary in our national organization. And I remember him pulling books out of his bag. He'd make a statement and then he'd pull this book out. Here's where you can document it. He'd make another statement and he'd pull out another book. And he'd make another one and another book would come out. And I'm thinking, geez, how many books does he have in that little satchel here? And it's been a joy through the years. I had the privilege of going to his wife's funeral. And she was a sweetheart. So for me, this is special because Mark brings me back to my early college years in the early 70s. So God bless you, Mark. Keep up the good work. I'm going to start with a story. I'm going to give credit to a man by the name of Vernon Grounds. I was reading through an article and came across this article on why does God allow suffering. And I was so impressed with it that I decided this would make a great message. So he's where I get a lot of my impetus from regarding this particular message. He's the former president of Denver Seminary. He's now retired from there. The story of the story goes like this. In February 15th of 1947, a man by the name of Glenn Chambers boarded a plane in New York. It was the Avianca Airlines, and it was en route to Quito, Ecuador. This young man was going to start a ministry, a radio ministry, with the Voice of the Andes. But he never arrived. Not far from where they were to land was a mountain called El Tablado, 14,000 feet high. Glenn's plane crashed headlong into that peak and dropped down into a ravine. The last letter that he wrote to his mother was on a piece of advertisement. And interestingly enough, he had taken this, and the advertisement had 3 letters, W-H-Y. And on that, he scribbled a note around on the board. Now, before she got that letter, she had heard of her son's death. And then to the mail comes this letter, this last letter that he wrote to his mother. She opens it up, and here's the word, why. There are incidents in our lives that we have the question of why. Now, when tragedy strikes a non-Christian, some of them go to pieces. I did one funeral where they literally had to carry the mother out. The young son had been tragically killed in a hunting accident. When non-Christians, those who are not oriented to God, encounter tragedy, generally they respond in 3 basic ways. This is a summary. the first response from among many is cynicism, and it's this: curse God and die. Shake your hand at God. These are the cynics. They've been wounded, and life continues to wound them, and they shake their hand at God and say, curse God and die. This is the cynic. Tragedy hits them, sweeps them off their feet. Curse God and die. And that's his attitude. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay just with God. These individuals are very difficult to be around. They kind of hate everybody. Then there's a group that they're called the Stoics. And it's the grin and bear it. I'm tough. I'll get through this. Just kind of grin and bear it, grind good. One more round of weary misery. The Stoics. Grin and bear it. If we can't grin and bear it anyway. Then there's Epicureanism. Actually, this would have a preference in my life, but it's easy to be married for the more you're going to die. Life has no purpose. Life has no direction. There is no God. Grab all the gospel you can right now because you're going to die tomorrow. You seek pleasure and avoid pain. Epicureanism. But how does a Christian respond to tragedy, stark tragedy, things that he did not have planned in your life, and all of a sudden they are upon you? And there's the old saying that the innocent suffer for the sins of the guilty. Where's Sandy at? Sandy, that's true. The innocent suffer for the sins of the guilty. A lot of youth, a lot of children, unfortunately, suffer for the sins of someone else. So what does a Christian do when they've been leveled by a tragedy? If you have your Bibles, I'd like for us to look at a verse that many of us have gone through time and time again when it comes to the difficult experiences of life. Some of you already know what this is. It's Romans chapter 8, verse 28. When tragedy comes into the life of a Christian, he goes to this verse. You know it. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. When you first look at this, it may not be much of a comfort. Note what it says, and we know. Well, that's rather dogmatic. It's not saying that I hope. It's not saying that this is our faith and it may be contrary to reason. It says we know. It has such certainty. We know. How can that be? I mean, that seems to be awfully dogmatic. We know. And then it says all things. All things. All things? Come now. I mean, I'm supposed to believe that the crippling of a young 18-year-old boy who was foolish one night and gets involved in an accident and he's crippled incurably for the rest of his life. Or the mother of a large family just kind of loses her mind and ends up in the hospital. Or the young idealist who started out with the world by the tail and he's going to change the world, and then the harsh realities of life and circumstances have made him into a cynic. I'm supposed to believe that all these things work together for good. I'm dogmatic, I know, and it's all. Come now. So when we first look at this, it may not seem like as much of a soft pillow for our head. But hang on. But I believe as we unpack this verse here, look at some key words that we'll find that it is exactly as it says. And bear with me, I do believe what this says. First glance at it, so I want to look at some words here that I think will help us as we understand this particular verse. And the New American Standard Translation translates this verse, God causes. This is the word causes. Your translation may use the word work. My new King James says, and we know that all things work. But that word also can mean causes. God causes all things to work together for good. Now, Paul is not saying that somehow by chance, somehow by the mindless whirling of matter, that this cosmos came into creation, or the events in your life are going to come together, he tells us very clearly that God causes. And the concept here is that God is at work in the midst of your tragedy. It's the very first concept that we want to get in our minds, is that God causes. It's not by chance. The breaking tragedy that levels you, God is beginning to work in a dynamic fashion in your life. Now let me illustrate this point. You go to Detroit and you go to where they manufacture cars. In the front of this mammoth structure, they are unloading raw material. Sand, they can make glass out of it. Bundles of wire. There may be uncut rolls of leather or cloth. There's computer chips. A host of rubber, all coming in at the front. Now, it's all raw material. Now, they're unloading it, it looks nothing like a car. Then, without going through that mammoth structure, you come clear down to this end, and out rolls a beautiful Chevy Impala, Hyundai Sonata, whatever the case may be. Sleek, efficient, climate control, travel at 70, 75, whatever, in the comfort of climate control music. Now, let me say this to you. This raw material did not randomly come together by chance to produce this car. That is not possible. There's extraordinary skill, intelligence, and a plan that put this car together, whether it be a sedan four-door or a sports coupe or an SUV. You have individuals that are putting this together with intelligence and skill. What Paul is telling us is that God causes, in the midst of our tragedy, God is at work. God, you introduce the concept of an infinite God who knows the end from the beginning, who knows, who is everlasting, from everlasting to everlasting, the Bible tells us in Psalm 90. No beginning and no ending to God. He just always was. You introduce an infinitely powerful, wise, all-knowing, merciful, and kind God into the process. God can cause this over here. Amen? This is what he is saying. It is not by random chance. Your life is not spinning out of control. Lord, I sure hope you understand what's happening down here. Remember? That's not the case. God causes. So this is what Paul is telling us. The great comfort that he gives to us is that God is in the work in the middle of it. Now, in our pain, in our sorrow, in our frustration, in our loss, in our loneliness, in our hurt, it's hard to see or believe that God is at work. But let me say to you, God knows his people. God knows exactly what is occurring in your life and in my life. And God is causing it. And one of the hardest things to do in the presence of God is to wait and allow God to be God. Amen? We want to pull in on reins and we want to control. And God says no. God is saying that it's not by luck or chance that a car is brought together, and neither is your life. God causes. Now, there's a verse out of the Old Testament that I believe will be a genuine blessing to you. Take the time if you want to look at this. It's Isaiah 55, verse 8. It's well worth memorizing this verse. In Isaiah 55, verse 8, we have these words. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. If we will allow God to cause these things to come together, even though they may not make sense to us at the moment, what God has in mind in your life will be a beautiful display of who He is and what He can do. We've heard testimony of that tonight. Sandy is a good example. God bless you, Sandy. We're going to hear one tomorrow. We're going to hear another one on Saturday. We heard Tara's testimony. We heard Victor's testimony. God causes. So a Christian comes to this verse with the idea and the set of thought that God's at work here. I need to kind of pull back and relax. There's another thought here that I want to bring to your mind. God causes all things to work together. So we're looking at three key words: causes, together, and good. God is at work. The second one is together. There are incidences in your life that are very, very, very cruel, sad, wrong. I read in the paper about a young lady, and you talk about life without purpose. Driving almost 100 miles an hour and slams into the back of a car and kills two teenagers. You remember that about 3 weeks ago? People's lives are literally coming unraveled around us. We have this whole issue in France. We have the racism that's coming to a high pitch. I haven't seen this since the 60s, and I was very young at that time regarding this whole issue. And we're seeing the racism issue coming to a very high pitch. We're in a society in which there are some very negative and hateful things. In your individual life, there are individual incidences that are very, very wrong. Now allow me to illustrate where God causes all things to work together. You take the ingredients of a 3-layer chocolate cake. Spices. You take crystal oil, the oil that they use. You take bleached flour, individual ingredients. Now, nobody really, I don't like eating flour just by itself. I don't like crystal oil. You scoop it out, that white, I'm looking forward to having that for lunch. We do not eat these things separate. But you get a skilled cook. They take these ingredients, and what you think would be very distasteful singularly, that skilled cook can bring these things together and make a 3-layer chocolate cake. Yum. Amen? Now, beloved, let me say, God is actively at work in your life, number one. In the midst of your tragedy, number two, He is bringing it together. If you want to focus on one individual ingredient and you insist on eating on that, then that's your choice. But let me say, allow God to bring it together in your life. Amen? Give God time to do that, and the product will be something that you will enjoy. Remember what Jesus said. This is very important. He said it is better to be lame in this life than to be cast whole into hell. And Christ didn't talk a lot about that. What is He saying? It is better for you to be lame and struggle in this life and gain your soul than have the world by the tail on a downhill drag, have the influence and power of money and wealth, have all that you can have, and realize when you die that you have won at the wrong game. Amen? Christ himself put it this way: what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? You're trading the temporal for the everlasting. That's why he said to the rich farmer who had a well-protected ground and was able to produce massive crops, and he said, what am I going to do with all this? I don't know what I'll do. 6 times in that passage he refers to himself, I will pull down my barns, and I will make bigger ones, then I will take my ease. And Jesus said, and he did not use this word very often, but he said, tonight, he said, fool, tonight your soul will be required. And why? He has squandered the eternal for the temporal. Remember, beloved, God causes in your life. We're introducing an infinitely wise, powerful God whose thoughts are far above ours, Isaiah 55. If we will wait and trust and allow this God to bring it together, these tasteful, distasteful incidences in your life can indeed move to be good. Now, this doesn't answer all our questions. Indeed, there will be times in which, to the day we'll die, we'll have questions about issues that we don't understand. But if we will let God be God and stand on His Word, He'll put these things together. The problem that I have is I'm impatient. And if you do any amount of cooking, if you get impatient, you can ruin a recipe. Amen? If you turn it too quickly or turn it over too soon and turn it too many times, whatever it may be, if you're impatient, you can ruin it. God is saying, let me put it together. Allow me to illustrate the Old Testament. Remember Joseph? Remember his experience in Genesis? Let me just highlight some of the illustrations. Jacob had 12 sons. But he favored one. Bad. You have 12 sons and you favor one? Bad. Then that favored son, guess what he did? I'm our Father's favorite one. His little priggish, smug attitude alienated him from his brothers. Bad. And his brothers not being undone, guess what they decided to do? You know, Joseph, he thinks he's so special. Tell you what, let's kill him. Bad. Real bad. And that's exactly what they tried to do. His father had made him a coat of many colors, you know. And he's out there and he's checking on his brothers. And the brothers see him coming. And they grab his jacket, tear it off of him, throw him down into a cistern, which is a dry well, and they're going to kill him. And the oldest brother said, no, let's not kill him. There was a Midianite tribe that was happened to be coming across. They were on the way to Egypt. And they said, let's not kill him, let's sell him. We'll get some money out of it. So what they did is they sold him as a slave. Bad. Dipped his coat in some blood, went back to his father, Jacob, and said, is this your son's coat? And he looked at it and says, yes. There's blood all over it. I'm afraid he's been torn to pieces. Bad, real bad. I mean, to me, that's really wrong. To sit there and watch your father in agony. You've got to really hate somebody. To watch your father in agony grieving over a son that he believes is dead when you know he's not. I mean, that is ruthless. Do people do that, by the way? Amen. They do that. That's why Jesus said, I've come to seek and to save that which was lost. Luke 19, verse 10. So he goes and he is bought by Potiphar, who happens to be the bodyguard for the Pharaoh. And Potiphar's wife takes an interest in this young Jew. Young, strong, intelligent. She takes an interest in him. He refuses her, and she says, you're not getting away with that, and falsely accuses him bad, and then he's thrown in jail, and he sits there for 2 whole years. finally interprets some dreams. The dreams come, the two other prisoners interprets their dreams, you know the story. The dreams come through exactly. The one is exalted back up to the position with the Pharaoh, the other is home. And then time passes, and the man that he interpreted the dream for said one day to the Pharaoh, because the Pharaoh had a dream and he couldn't understand what it meant. And the butler says, "Oh, my sin be upon me, I forgot there was a man that we have in prison here that can interpret dreams." So they pulled Joseph out of jail, cleaned him up, shaved him up, stood before Pharaoh, and he gave the interpretation of his dream. He talked about 7 years of famine, 7 years of prosperity, 7 years of famine. And then the Pharaoh says, "Well, who in all the kingdom doesn't have wisdom and in the Spirit of God like this man here?" And he made him second in command. The only thing that he was subject to was the Pharaoh himself. As you know the story, they're wasting away in Palestine. His brothers come to get seed from Joseph because now they're in these 7 lean, famine-ish years, and the plague is devastating the area. And they come and they're standing before Joseph, unbeknownst to themselves that it's Joseph. They have no idea this is their brother. Story goes on, as you know. I encourage you to read Genesis chapter 50. But I want, now he finally reveals himself. They're utter shock. They thought, as a matter of fact, that he was going to have him executed. But I want you to read with me. Allow me to read this. When he finally reveals to his brothers who he is, Joseph said to them, "Do not be afraid." Now, why would he say that? Because they were fearful that now he has the power to take their lives. "Do not be afraid, for I am in the place of God." Let that sink down. I am in the place of God. Through all of those ingredients, those distasteful, nasty, negative ingredients, God put it together and exalted him, and he preserved the Jewish nation through Joseph. And Joseph realizes it. "But as for you, you meant evil against me. But God meant it for good, in order to bring about, as it is this day, to save many lives. Therefore do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones." And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. It probably was in utter shock. Three-layer cake. Don't eat the ingredients individually. Allow God to put things together in your life. And the product will be something that you will enjoy. If you choose to take one incident in your life and continue to dwell on it, you'll become a big claw or a big fang. But if you will allow God to work in your life, God can bring this together for you far beyond you have ever imagined in your life. You meant it for good, whoever this may be in your life. But God meant it. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Amen? Together. Now there's one other word. That's this word good. Let's go back to Romans 8 now. Romans 8. God causes, whether it is an infinitely wise, powerful, all-knowing God, He's not up there wringing His hands. What's occurring on the national level is completely within the scope of His sovereign rule. I'm talking about what's happening right now in our country. God causes all things to work together, causes together. The third word that is critical is this word good. God causes all things to work together for good. This is probably the biggest sticking point for all of us in our society. Unfortunately, we tend to define good if we're exempt from disease. We consider that good. If our bodies are strong, that is good. If we have no pain, that is good. If we have money in our pockets and money in the bank, that is good. If we have influence and power in our circles, that is good. That is how we define good. That's how our society defines it. But God has a different viewpoint. How He defines good is really quite different than how we do. We've been victimized by this society that continually presses in on us. How does God define good? He tells us in verse 29, "For whom He foreknew, He predestined to be conformed to the image of His Son." Do you know what good is? It's not necessarily comfort. It is not necessarily being free of pain. It is not necessarily being rich. That really is not the idea of good. It's conformity to Christ. That is how God defines good. God will allow these influences in your life to winnow out those things in our soul that we grasp like young children chasing bubbles across the front lawn, and then it lands on the grass and is there for a few seconds and pops and it's gone. How often we run after these thinking this is good. You fill in the line. What are you chasing that you define as good, but is far, far removed from how God sees it? God sees good as the image of Christ in your life, and He may allow you to suffer pain. He's unsentimental with this idea that we tend to look at things that we think will bring us joy and pleasure and happiness, and it really will destroy us. I remember as a child, we would visit my grandmother. She had a huge porcelain tub. I would love to sit in that thing. I almost felt like I could swim laps in it. It was so big. I remember that. Had the old chain down and had the plunger you pulled out. And you pull that plunger out after you spent an hour in there, and the water was slowly going down. Slowly. And then at one point there started to be a funnel. And you barely see it, but then as the water went down, the funnel got more and more pronounced, and more distinct and faster and stronger.